Alright, I had this DowelMax sitting up here in my office, and I was taking inventory of different things, but I was looking at it and I'm like, that box just does not do this jig justice. Things are just thrown in here, banging around against each other, and so I decided to take it and I'm going to build a wooden box for it. You know, not a big deal. It's not that big of a project, but it's something I want to do. So I'm going to go over here and show you. This is what I've got in mind. So, simple wooden box. I'm going to do just tongue and groove corners, you know, joinery. Everything is going to be tongue and groove. Nothing. I'm not going to get too carried away with box joints here or anything. It's a utilitarian type box. It's a shop box. It's just that. It's just a container. So when you open this up, you know, slide the lid off. This is where everything's going to go. So these compartments, you know, the main compartment here for keeping the main body of the jig, these accessories, and then in this long compartment the drill bits and this part of the jig as well. So like I say, it's pretty simple construction, but it's gonna do wonders for keeping this thing from getting banged around. So that's it. We'll go downstairs and get in the shop and build this thing. Rather than use new stock, I've decided to use some of this stuff that I've got laying around here. That this piece, for instance, used to be my sliding table until I got this aluminum piece from a friend of mine, August, and then this, used to be a part of a sliding table that sat on top of the table saw. And the other half has been cut up into something already. So I think I've got enough material here, and I'm going to try and eliminate as many of these holes as I can when I make my cuts, but that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to rip this one here down to 6 inches. Then I'll get into here and get some 4-inch piece out of this, and then this will get ripped out of here. I'll rip a 4-inch strip out of this part, and then hopefully get one out of here as well. And that should give me enough rough pieces to get what I need. Turned out to be a pretty good clean piece. This one I've got some holes to work around. This is pretty clean. These are just some divots from using a drill bit on top of it. So it's clean on one side anyway. And then this piece turned out to be fairly clean as well. So let me do some measuring and some layouts here. Make sure I can get all the pieces I need out of this. And then we'll go from there. Well, I got everything cut here. This is going to be my top. Finished dimension on that's going to be 10 1/4 by 6. 2 sides, 10 1/2 by 4. Front and the back. The front is 6 by 4, or the back, I'm sorry, is 6 by 4. So these have all been cut at the same dimension. Same width. The front is going to be slightly lower. You know, it's going to be this much lower. Thickness of the plywood lower, so it's going to be approximately 6 by 3 1/2. But I haven't cut that to finished width yet because I've got to see where that ends up. Then I've got my long divider, and then my 2 short dividers are coming out of this piece. And I don't want to cut those down to finished length yet until I see where I'm at. So they are finished height, which is 3. Alright, all my parts have been cut. This is just a dry fit. One change I made on the fly was this was going to be my cover for my sliding top cover, I guess. But this was going to go on top, and I didn't like this face. I cut it the wrong way. So I just decided to make it into the bottom. So that part is a change. Instead of it being a 1/4 inch plywood bottom, it's a full 1/2 inch thick. Cut a new top with a better face, and it goes together really nice. Clamps are off. When I glued it up, it went fairly smoothly, except that I had one side get turned around on me, and I put glue in one of these tracks for the lid. So I had to get that cleaned out quick. But the lid, after doing some sanding with my sanding block here, let me show you this. I just ran my 220 sanding block along these edges like this till I got the fit I wanted. I also ran a little bit of 220 or 120 paper in these grooves. Not much, the ones on that. I didn't spend much time doing that. But it's a good fit now. I like it. So it's just a matter of sanding it up and putting it to work. So I'll run my 1/2 sheet sander over it, soften all the outside edges here. The box is complete. I've got some sanding to do, but the last detail I need to do is make this thumb pull. Or teardrop pull, I don't know what you call it. But instead of drilling a through hole, I think this looks a little nicer. And then the other thing about it is it's closed and you don't have a hole right here, so you can see into the box. So I'm going to do this design right here, and I'm glad I did this. This is my second attempt at it. I did one earlier. This one here. This was a 3/4 inch bit, a little steeper angle, but I didn't like that as much. It's too small. So this was 3/4 inch. This is a 1 inch bit. I like this a lot better, so this is what I'm going to go with, and I'll show you my setup here in a second. The issue is the tear out right here. So as long as I don't change my setup over there, I know where my bottom line is going to be here. I'm gonna have to scribe that with a marking gauge or a knife, something, on my lid. So I'm going to do some layout here and then I'll come back and show you how I figured this out. The width of my top here, sliding top, is 5.6 inches. So finding the center was pretty easy. You know, it's 2.8. So I set my one of my adjustable tri-squares here to 2.8 inches. Drew my center line from both sides. It's this way, 2.8 this way. Drew it from this side and this side. And then this tri-square was set to depth based off of this piece here. So that's my depth. I laid that on here, scribed a line, and then actually I drew a pencil line first so you can see it better, but there's a scribed line there now that I just made with a utility knife. And just need to go over and set it up on the drill press and make this cut. Alright, here's my setup. My fence is, I haven't changed that for my test cut. It's just, you know, wherever it's set, that's where it's supposed to be. But behind it I had a 1/2 inch setup gauge block and a 3/8. And that gives me something to hold this against so I can push against it. And it's wedged between another piece of extrusion out here to keep it from falling out this way. So I'm basically holding it back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this center point with that line. I'm just going to eyeball this, and then I'm going to bring in another stop here and clamp this in place, because as the bit spins this way it wants to push the work away, and that keeps it from going that direction. So let me get this eyeballed here. That looks pretty good. Just a hair there. Alright, I'm going to go with that right there. Just double check it here. That still looks good. And now we can make this cut. I'm going to move the camera so I have a little room here. Well, I want to go a little bit deeper than that. So I'm going to adjust my depth of cut here. Still a little bit more. Alright, there you have it. And no tear out on the bottom here, that's good. That's going to be just perfect. Drop your thumb in there. Works great. So let me give you a detailed view of what's going on inside here. And, you know, this thumb pull turned out really nice. I got this long section divided into 3 layers. Top layer is the drill bits, which you're obviously going to use every time you use this jig. I bought two new bits when I purchased some dowels the other day here. So I've got 4 bits, 2 of each size. Old ones here, new ones there. In here is the extended jig that you use, or jig to if you're doing a series of dowels down a long board. This is your indexing setup. Now I had this originally set up. I didn't think about it. I was just going to have a finger pull here to pull this up, when in reality this turned into a natural handle basically. So finger pull stays. These are cutouts from my original sliding table. I was just going to toss this as scrap, but it ended up I could use it in this project. So underneath here I've got some washers and spacers, extra Allen wrenches and set screws that came with the new drill bits. Just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff in there. So this sits on top of those. And then my Allen wrench here for this. This I drilled 2 recess holes in it so that they can sit on top of these 2 Allen screws and not rock. And that gives you a nice firm base, and then back in goes your drill bits. These protective covers, by the way, don't come with the original jig. I've had these for quite a while. So my block to hold my indexing pins, 1/4 and 3/8 there. My spacers, you know, homemade and factory made. Those sit in here. The main part of the jig, along with the 1/4 inch hardened steel sleeves, that if you need to use a 1/4 inch bit, that sits in there. So everything sits in really nice, taken care of, protected now, and I'm really looking forward to just, you know, using the jig. Whenever I use the jig, everything will be right where it needs to be. I'll be able to get to it nice and easy. So, thanks for watching.